Hello and welcome to the Pandaverse. I'm Elgon Williams. I'm here with Christine Gabriel. This is the C&E show, and today's topic is dreams. Dreams, how they influence our writing, how they influence our life, how nightmares may translate into horror stories, all sorts of things. I'm going to kick it off by saying the last nightmare I ever had was back when I was 25 years old. It happened on the day after my birthday.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Mine was like 2 nights ago.
Nights ago. See, that's why you write horror novels. I write nice little fluffy mysteries and
Yeah, no, I'm gonna turn this nightmare into a new book. I'm gonna call it The Wicked Room. I dreamt that I inherited a huge old mansion in the middle of nowhere, and there was a room, or there is a room in this place, this terrifying place, with some awful awful things that have happened there. In the room, if you get locked in this room, it like judges you. So if you're a wicked person, wicked things will happen to you and you'll never be seen or heard from again. And some people are just scared so badly that they go insane. But if you have a pure heart, then they'll let you live. And the last thing I saw before I woke up and I heard this really deep, terrifying voice, and it said, "Release the hellhounds." Now, in mythology, when you hear anything to do with hellhounds, it kind of signifies death is coming for you. And in this case, it was coming from my husband. I woke up and I just laid there just thinking about how that was the last thing I heard. So, pretty terrifying. The wicked one.
it kind of reminds me of the hell rooms in Hell on the Lucifer series on Netflix.
Yeah.
Where your worst fear or the thing that you have the most guilt about just keeps replaying over and over again, and you can't change a thing.
That would be like your own personal hell. Like I could see that being it. You know what I mean? Like you just replay like your worst either fear or the biggest guilt that you could possibly have over and over again. It would be awful.
I thought about it once, and I said to me, hell would be the moment that I die. I find out that I have to live my life again, but I can't change anything.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
And you're going to observe and know exactly when things are going to happen, and
No, and have to live that. That would be pretty awful.
and you can't turn your eyes away. You got to see it all.
Gotta watch it all. Oh,
You got to watch it all.
you should write a book about that.
Go through all the embarrassment, all the
and you know it's coming. Like you you know you can't.
You got to put up with all the bullies in school and all the rejection, and
Have you watched that show called The Russian Doll?
No.
I highly recommend it because it's very similar to that. Basically, she dies in these different ways, and then she'll wake up in her bathroom and she's at her birthday party and she's got to redo everything all over again, and she just keeps waking up in her bathroom. It's kind of different.
When after the last weird dream I had, I don't call them nightmares anymore. I call them weird dreams, but I don't even have that many of those anymore.
Really?
I think it's because when I write, it's like a cathartic thing, and it removes a lot of the pent up things that would cause a nightmare. I don't know. That's just a theory, but I stopped having nightmares because I had this weird dream that I was in Austin, Texas at the time that I had the dream, and I was in a bookstore, I was on this landing on a staircase that went down and then stopped and then went on down. And I'm on the first landing there, and I'm looking out over the store. I heard a voice that said, "Hey," and tapped me on the shoulder. And I turned around and it was me. And I'm like, "Oh, what's going on?" And I said, "Man, this is just a dream. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you how dreams are put together." And I explained to myself features of dreams and how you can tell when you're dreaming so that you can wake yourself up before a nightmare begins, or you can identify the nightmare sequence is starting and you just go ahead and wake up, or you wake up into a different dream.
Wow.
That ended up being one of the attributes of the Brent Woods character in my books.
Yeah.
He has that experience, of course, because we share a lot of experiences, because he's kind of like my older ego.
Right.
That's one of his abilities too, is that he doesn't have nightmares because he can wake up inside his dreams.
Oh man, I wish I could.
But the problem with that is, if you get lost inside your dream by waking up into other dreams and everything, then you have a problem telling what's real and what isn't real. I mean, think about it. What if you woke up in 2020, as we've experienced over the last few months, and you thought, well, this is a dream, but it's actually reality. And, it's actually one of those cases where reality is worse than a nightmare.
Right.
And you get lost. You're operating under the assumption that, oh, this is just a dream. I can do anything. I'm invincible. And you're not.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a firm believer in astral traveling, only because I've dreamt some things that I can't explain. I think I've told you this was another story I got from a dream. I woke up in my dream and I was at the end of my bed and I was watching myself sleep. My bedroom door opened and this man walked in and he was wearing very old time clothing. Just like leather trappings, and he looked very rugged. Had like a leather backpack, and he took out a wooden box, and it was covered in these old ancient runes. And he opened the box, and he took out a wooden disc, and it was very smooth. And he walked over to my side of the bed, and my sleeping self, he tried to put this disc on my forehead, and he could not. And he got very frustrated. I watched him get very angry. Well, he finally got tired of trying, and he walked over to my husband's side of the bed and was able to put the disc on his forehead easily, and it stayed there for a few moments. He picked it back up, he put it back in the box, and then I woke up. And I knew that what he was doing was, when you wake up and you don't remember your dreams, it's because he's coming to take them from you. Basically, that we are creators, writers and producers and, different musicians. We all have this talent where we're given these great ideas from the universe, and, scientists, just people in power. And some of these ideas, basically, the universe considers almost too harmful, because we would maybe not use it in the way that it should be used. So he will come and he'll take those ideas from us like a dream thief. And to this day, I can remember exactly what he looked like. I can remember how frustrated he was that he could not put that disc on my forehead. So right there was another book idea. I want to call it Somnium, which is sleep in Latin.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. It sounds good.
Yeah.
I had this dream. I told you about a haunted house on my, one of the haunted houses on my dad's property. This was the bigger of the two houses, the one that
one with the stones, the gravestones.
No. That one had issues too, but
Oh,
this was the one where my band tried to record a rock opera, and we tried sleeping there. I mean, we actually did record the rock opera, but we tried sleeping in the house, and all the noises and everything going on in the house, we ended up leaving in the middle of the night. I had a dream that I was, riding a wagon that was with horse-drawn wagon. I went into South Charleston, back 100 years before or more, and I met somebody at the train station, train depot. It was a lady, and I brought her back to the house, and I carried her over the threshold. So I figured, we're married or whatever. I set her down inside, and, she said that I was being silly. I turned around and I looked in. There was like a hull tree there with, hooks to hang cloaks and everything. Yeah. And I took off my cloak and my hat and I set it down on the hull tree. And there was a mirror in the middle, and I looked in the mirror, and it was me with, like a beard and the whole thing. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
I woke up after that. My mom used to think that dreams were connected to things that might happen in the future, or they were connected to things that we wish had happened a certain way. I sort of believe that. I also think we might be replaying fragments from former lives, because science thinks that our DNA can actually store information between lifetimes. I mean, it's possible because you can store gazillions and gazillions of terabytes of data in our DNA strings. Because, there's so many permutations and alterations and everything that we can do. So just imagine that, if you could access all the memories that are in your DNA from as far back as, the first form of primitive life that you have a connection to.
Right. I know that I also kind of wonder sometimes if there maybe are alternate, realities and universes. I once dreamt that I was walking through a cave, and the cave was dark, and I walked through the other side, and a arrow shot past me, and it scared me, and this person like grabbed me and like ran with me, and we hid. And they said that people like me, strange ones, had come through this cave, that we were not of this world, and that the people there were frightened of us because they considered us to be almost alien-like. So they would keep watch on this cave, and they would basically kill anything that came through. So they tried to sneak me back through the cave to get back home. And as we got back to the cave, they started shooting, and this person pushed me through the cave. And just as they pushed me through the cave, they were shot and killed. But I made it through, and I woke right up. I laid in bed, and it was one of those moments where you really wondered, did I go to another place? Because it was almost like another universe, and people were afraid of me because to them I was an alien.
That sounds like it's something that you drew into your books. And her name's Angelina, right? Your main character.
Angelina, yep.
That's it. Because she ends up. I'm not going to spoil the story or anything, but she ends up in kind of a hidden world,
right?
Within the forest.
Yeah. I've dreamt some pretty interesting things. I believe I've seen my muse one time there. I woke up again. I was watching myself. I was standing in my kitchen, and I write a lot of times I'll sit in a recliner with my laptop and I'll write. She was standing next to me as I was writing and watching her, and she's bent down and she's whispering in my ear as I'm typing. And she's beautiful. She's got this beautiful long white gown. She's barefoot. Her hair is up in this beautiful updo. She looked up at me and she smiled. And then I woke up and I was like, that was my muse. My muse is this beautiful Greek goddess. Thank you.
I remember this one dream that I had. My parents had just moved to South Texas from Ohio, and my brother-in-law at the time and I had driven a van. My parents had followed us behind in my dad's car. We had everything. We had the car and the van were loaded with stuff, and then everything else was coming in a moving van. When we got to Mission, Texas, which is where my parents had bought a house, we're sleeping on the floors because we don't have beds or anything there, right? But I remember having a dream that probably most people would consider a nightmare. But of course, being a writer, I woke up and said, boy, that would be a great story. That was before I even went to the University of Texas. I hadn't even applied there yet. We were camped out on the floor, laying on kind of little pallets or whatever, little things that my mom had made up. It was plenty warm, so that wasn't any problem. But in the dream, I was visiting a farm of sorts, and there were all these people working on the farm and tending to things. And then people came in toward the evening, and there was like this big restaurant that they had, and everything that they raised on the farm was used in the restaurant. So it was really popular because it was all farm table grown and everything like that. The farmer, the head guy, I guess it was a farmer, the guy that owned the place, came to me and asked me if I'd like to be served today. What do you mean? Like I get to sit and eat? He goes, no. You're going to be the main course.
Oh my gosh. That's terrifying.
So
They come out a long turn.
When I have strange dreams, I have doozies.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty scary. I think the scariest dream I ever had, and he's a reoccurring dream. So somewhere deep down, I think he may be real. I dreamt I was in a different time. The world had gone down. It was just desolate, and demons had taken over. Basically, the earth had cracked open, and demons were roaming the earth. And humans were hiding and trying to survive. And I had my 2 young daughters with me, and we had backpacks and we had guns, and we were, coming up a hill, and there were these houses. They were desolate houses, just run down. You could tell things were overgrown, and it was getting dark. So we decided that we would camp out in one of these houses. We went in one of the houses, and these men, there were 3 men sleeping, and grabbed their guns, and they woke up, and they were like, they didn't want to hurt us, which was good. But then we heard this tapping at the window, and there was this creature. He was blacker than the blackest black, and it almost like on like he had rows of teeth, and he just smiled, this big grin. He had this like slitted eyes, and he was real smooth, and he just was smiling at us through this window. And the man asked for his gun, and we gave him one, and we walked over to the window, and he told us we were safe. This creature could not come in. Well, the creature spit blood on the window, and it soaked through the glass and went right into the man's face and melted his face off. I call him the blood leveler, because he has visited me very, very many times throughout my sleeping cycles, and he is like the one creature that terrifies me. He is terrifying, the blood leveler.
Yeah, I kind of have a greatest hits list too with dreams. It's like when I wake up after them, sometimes I realize it during the dream too, but when I wake up afterwards, I go, oh, I remember that dream. I've had that before. And it might be a slight variation on the same thing, but I dream about being on a farm like when I was growing up, when I was a kid. So apparently that entire experience made an impression on me.
Right.
I used to play in the woods behind our house, so I have dreams about that. Oddly enough, I also have dreams about working in retail.
That's the nightmare alone by itself.
Yeah. It's not like having interactions with customers type of retail. It's like I'm putting away freight, or I'm doing merchandising, things like that. That sort of thing. So And I didn't mind doing that part of the job. I always liked changing things up and making things new and creating new displays and everything. So I was pretty good at that. But I also like talking to people. So 99% of the job was okay, but it was like the other 1%, where you have to deal with customers that are just like not your favorite people in the world.
Yeah.
And they have no intention of you ever being their favorite person. So
Yeah.
it's not like a goal of theirs to be nice or
Right.
whatever. They see their entire life as a struggle against the system, and they want to outdo the system.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember this one customer I had when I was in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and he would come in every time there was a new ad, and he had found something that was a little issue in the ad, and he would try to maximize it to his benefit. And the store manager had created a problem long before I showed up at that store of caving into this guy and giving him what he wanted. And like there was one case where they were advertising an Oriental rug in the floor and wall department, and it was supposed to be like $69 or whatever. Well, we also sold Oriental rugs that were like $400, $500.
Right.
Well, the guy ended up getting a $400 or $500 rug because he said the picture wasn't distinct enough or whatever, and the store manager ended up caving in and giving it to him. So by doing that, he created a monster.
Right. No, I agree.
But anytime this guy came in the store, he wanted to see the general manager because everybody else would say no to him because
Right. Right. And then he'd eventually get his way.
And it got to the point where the general manager put me in between the two of them. So I had to deal with the guy. And that all stemmed from the guy coming up to me and wanting a bare root stock tree, okay, which was in the ad for like, $2.99 or $3.99, I forget what it was. But he wanted a 5-gallon tree, already grown tree that's in the nursery. He wanted that, which is like a $49 tree for the price of the bare root because he said it's not clear in the ad between the two. And I said, well, it should be clear to anybody that you're not going to get a 5-gallon grown tree for that kind of money. He said, are you calling me stupid? And I said, no, I'm calling you a schemer.
Good job.
And he says, well, you have to give it to me. I said, no, you don't. I said, nobody in the store has to give you anything that you want. Well, I want to speak to Al. Al was the store manager. I said, Al's not here today, so you have to deal with me.
Oh.
And
but he was thrilled.
Well, he says, well, I'm gonna call corporate. And I said, well, I bet I call them before you do. So I'll explain exactly what's going on. And guess who they're going to side with? He said, they're going to side with me because the customer's always right. And I said, not in this case.
That's one thing I don't think, even working in retail for 17 years, I don't think I really dreamt of the retail portion of that. And I am grateful.
Well, wait until you retire.
Oh, that's, I'm hoping that time comes eventually. I like it. It's just, you do have your days, don't we all? So.
Yeah, I've heard about them too.
Oh, but no, as for, I get a lot of my story ideas from dreams. I think that they carry over, and I'm fortunate enough to remember my dreams quite often.
Yeah, that seems to be consistent among the writers that I've talked to, that most of us remember our dreams. We may keep a notepad next to our bed and jot down little notes and things.
Mm-hmm.
But, in my case, I have, a playlist of dreams that keep reoccurring. And,
yeah,
so I tend to remember little things about the dreams from one dream to the next. I think that's part of the package that you get when you're a writer, that you see things in more detail in the world around you, and you remember your dreams more. It's like there's parts of your brain that are switched on that aren't switched on usually, you know.
I agree. I would say the weirdest dream I've ever had. It was very, very quick. I felt like I closed my eyes and I dreamt this. I was standing and it was all black, just completely black. And all of a sudden, this symbol flashed in front of me. It was two interlocking triangles with an upside down scythe in there. And then I woke up. That was it. I woke up, I went out, sat at the kitchen table, and for about an hour, I drew that symbol. It was so stuck in my mind. It was like I had to draw it to get it to go away. It was kind of crazy.
It's kind of like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The guy had to make a mountain.
I should have looked for like little probe holes or something. Probably what it was, some ancient race just abducted me while I was sleeping.
Well, you could, that could end up being a cover of a book in the future.
Yeah, interlocking triangles with an upside down scythe. And the upside down scythe had two lines through the stick portion of it. So anybody knows what that is, please.
The scythe,
you to tell me.
A scythe has a handle on it.
Mm-hmm. And there were two like.
As well as there's a handle that you hold with the scythe so you can swing. Yeah. I mean, I've actually used one of those on a farm. I probably still have the calluses from it because that thing produces blisters. I'll tell you.
Yeah, that. I could imagine. Yeah, so that was the weirdest, hands down dream. I still remember that. That symbol means something, but I don't know what it means. So, somebody tell me what it means, please. I implore you.
What did you dream last night?
I didn't sleep very well last night, to be honest with you. We bought a pork shoulder and we smoked it starting at midnight last night. So I was awake like every half hour. We have a Bluetooth meat thermometer, and every 20 minutes that darn thing went off. So I was so tired all day today. But that pork shoulder is really good. So it was worth it. I'm sure I'll do real well tonight.
The story has a happy ending.
It does. Oh, food is always a happy ending for me.
So do you have tomorrow off?
I know. I'm working tomorrow. So that will be
You guys are open on Labor Day?
Yep, 10 to 4. It'll go quick though. It's a short day. So
it's retail.
Woo, woo, woo. But as for our viewers, tell us, what is the weirdest dream or the scariest dream that you've ever had? We would love to hear this.
Yep. Put it in the comments of this video on once it's posted on YouTube. We'll mention you in the next video that we do. Maybe award a prize. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Ooh, prize time.
We're going to end up having the same people post the same thing over and over again. By the way, make sure you subscribe, hit like or hit dislike, whichever one.
No, hit like. Like.
Well, it doesn't matter in terms of the algorithm for YouTube. If you react either way, it's a response to the video. So, but we would prefer you like our videos.
Yes, and please subscribe because more cool stuff is coming along the way.
Yeah. All right. You got a birthday party today.
I do. 16-year-old. Woo.
Sweet 16.
Yeah, sweet 16. Even her boyfriend's coming over. I know.
Yeah, I'm glad my kids have all evolved past that.
Yep, I'm right in that stage right now. I just smile and walk away.
All my kids are in their 30s.
Yeah, I've got two little ones left.
I got a grandson.
He's cutie.
His name's Jackson. He can say his name, and he can almost spell it.
Oh, he's going to be a smart little guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
And one of his words is Google.
course it is.
My son has, Google interface throughout his house. So they're constantly saying Google to something. Hey Google, getting stuff done. So
Right.
he hasn't figured out that you got to say, hey Google, to get anything done. So
When he does, that house is in trouble.
when he figures that out, he's going to wreak havoc on the world.
Yeah, he is. Your son would be so sad that he learned that. Hey Google, turn off the lights. Yeah, that's going to be funny.
All right. I'm going to let you get to living your life and having fun.
Okay. Until next time.
I'm E and she's C.
I'm C.
And we're the C and E show.
Bye, guys.
Bye.